Hello and namaste. I'm Vishal and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Data Desk. In this video, I'm going to explain three self-join SQL interview questions with examples that are most likely asked in interview. First of all, what is self-join? A self-join is when we join a table with itself. You might ask here, if we have only one table, how can we join it? We do this by using alias. An alias is just another name for the same table. For example, if we have a customer table, we can use customer as C, and here C still represent the same customer table, right? Now, let's say we create another alias like customer as CA. Both C and CA refers to the same table, but they act as a two separate instance. Using these alias, we can compare rows within the same table, which is called a self join. I hope you understand now. Let's start with our first question. How do you find an employee's manager when they are both stored in the exact same table? Here I have an employees table with details like employee ID, employee name, department, salary, and manager ID. If we look at Amit Verma, his manager ID is 2. To find out who that is, we have to look back to the employee ID column with the ID 2, and we got the name Anita Sharma. That simply means Amit Verma has a Anita Sharma as manager. Similarly, Neha Gupta also has manager ID 2. That means she also has the manager Anita Sharma. And if you look for a Priya Nair, she has a manager ID 3. And the that means Suresh Mehta is the manager of the Priya Nair. Here what we did is we treat one table as if it were two separate entities, like manager and employee. This is where a self join come into picture. So for this, to find out the who is the manager of the employee, we are going to write a query. Here I'm going to make a use of the alias to represent the employee and the manager as a separate entity. So I'll write select star from employee as E to represent employee as a first entity, and I'm going to join this employee table using inner join with the employee table as M as a manager entity on E dot manager ID equals to M dot employee ID. Let me run this part of the query now. We can see in the output we got employee name and their respective manager from the manager table. And if you look for Amit Verma, we got the right manager Anita Sharma. For Neha Gupta also we got the Anita Sharma as a manager. And if you look for the Priya Nair, we got the Suresh Mehta as the manager, right? So what we need from this table, we only need employee name from employee table and manager name from the manager table, right? For this, I'm going to make a use of alias e dot employee name, e dot amp name as employee name, comma, and from manager table or manager entity, we are going to make a use of same employee name as manager name. And now let's run this final query. And we successfully got employee and their reporting manager. Now let's go ahead with the second question of the self join. We need to find employees who earns more than their respective manager. So for this also I'm going to use the same employees table with the all the information of the employees. And as we already got the reporting manager of the employees, so I'm going to copy the same query for the first question and simply going to update that query in order to find the employee who is earning more than their respective manager. So here what we need, okay, let me run this query quickly again. So we successfully got the employee name and the manager. So we needed to find the employee who earns more than their respective manager from e reference, that is alias or employees table. What we want is salary, right, as employee salary, And from manager table also we want the manager, that is that we can access with the uh, alias, right? Manager's salary as manager salary. This way we get the salaries, and we simply need to compare these two. Need to find the employees where this employee salary is greater than their manager salary. And for this I'm simply going to add a where condition saying where e dot salary, where e dot salary is greater than dot salary. And let's run this final query. And in the output we got Neha Gupta and Rahul Singh, who earns more than their respective manager Anita Sharma. That's all about the second question, and let's move ahead with the third question on this. The third self-join question you likely to get in SQL interviews is delete duplicate records without using group by and having. Okay, for this I have a employee info table with the information like employee ID, name, email, location, department, date of birth, gender, and age. Okay, if you look at the data, we have a duplicate records for Alice, Smith, Bob, and Charles. So we want to get rid of these duplicate records, and that too without using group by and having clause. To achieve this, what we are going to do, we are going to make a use of self join. For this, let's write a delete query. Delete E1 is going to be the table alias to represent the first reference of the employee info table, and from this reference only we are going to delete the uh, duplicate records. So I'll say employee info as E1, and I'm going to join this with the second reference E2 by saying employee info as E2 on E1 dot employee name. So we have a name, so E1 dot name equals to equals to E2 dot name. And here we will specify the condition, as we only want to keep the initial records like 101, 102, 103, and want to delete the duplicate records like 105, 108, and 1010. For this I'm going to write and e1 dot employee id emp id greater than e2 dot emp id. By specifying this condition, we'll get rid of the duplicate records that present in the first reference, that is E1 of the employee info table. Okay, let's run this query. Okay, we got the matches, 3 rows up. Now let's check the employee info table. See here, we successfully deleted the duplicate records which are present at 105, 108, and 110th, right? This way we can use a self join to delete the duplicate records without using group by and having.